let's go to the to previewing the Sweet 16 Elite 8 games here, picking winners. So I don't have the dates in front of me, so we'll just go like we did the last time is with the go to the East, then the West, South, Midwest, pick our winners from there. So, guys, we've got UConn San Diego State in a rematch of the last year's national title game. UConn still playing at an incredibly different level here. They won by 20 points again, over 20, or maybe it was less. They were up by 20 basically the whole game, and Dan Hurley is still pissed at them. And they're going to keep with that intensity. That's going to keep going. I don't see any way UConn loses this game. I think San Diego State, they're going to come out hungry. I think they maybe give UConn a game for about a half, but in the end, UConn, they're like that boa constrictor. They're just going to suck the life out of you, and they're just going to wear on you, and you're just going to run out of energy, run out of juice. And I don't think San Diego's. I think it's a very similar result to last year's national title game. UConn rolls on, and then in the other regional semifinal in the East is Illinois versus Iowa State. Very interesting game here. I think Iowa State's defense versus Illinois and Terrence Shannon. This is going to be another wild game. Neither game that Iowa State played didn't really watch a whole lot of, just because the game was Iowa State controlled it for most. Washington State kept it as close as they could, but every time Washington State got it to making Cyclone fans a little bit uneasy, they always found a way to kind of land that knockout punch to kind of extend that lead, to give them a little bit more of a cushion. Does Iowa State have enough defense to stop Terrence Shannon? I'm not sure. Is Illinois, are they going to be able to continue their hot shooting that they've had? In the end, I think this comes down to who has the better player, and that's Illinois and Terrence Shannon. So I like the Illini to advance to set up UConn versus Illinois in the Elite Eight.
This is really the only good part of my bracket. I got 3 of these 4 teams, so go me. Woo! But unless San Diego State shoots it like they did versus Yale at an almost 50% clip from 3, limit the UConn offensive rebounding to, 8 or less, I don't think there's a chance they win this game. I think they shot 48%, and then they only allowed 5 offensive rebounds to Yale, which Auburn gave up a crap ton of offensive rebounds and kickouts to Yale. Probably one of the main reasons they lost. But no, I just don't think they're going to beat UConn. I don't think they have enough scoring. They'll be able to slow them down better than any team that UConn has faced so far, but I just don't think they're going to be able to keep up still. Illinois, Iowa State, probably my game of the week. Very different styles, to say the least. Illinois wants to get it. They want to run out. They want to get you in transition. Iowa State likes transition, but they are more slow the pace down, run their methodical offense, and then try to get open looks off of that. They do run, like I said, they run on their chances, but it's not their main game, kind of like Illinois. I still will say Terrence Shannon is the best player in this tournament. He probably shouldn't be playing. Doesn't matter. He's playing. So at this point, it is what it is. Funny that his arraigning, or whatever you want to call it, is right after
Arraignment
madness ends. Shocking how they worked that out. But no, I just think they're too good. I think the 3-headed monster of Damask, Shannon, and Hawkins is just too good. Too many shooters that I don't even think I don't know how Iowa State's going to match up with them, because they're all like 6'6" or taller and athletic as shit. Like, Iowa State's probably one of the top 3 best defensive teams in the country, and I still don't think they have enough to match up with Illinois.
Yeah, well, and back to the UConn San Diego State game is, I don't think Dan Hurley allows offensive rebounds, and if you do, I think you have to run in the snow and try to go. You have to run in the snow in Connecticut. So I just don't see a path for San Diego State to win. Just don't. But
Grant, I don't know if you just saw that call in the West Virginia Iowa game. Holy shit, that might be the worst call I've ever seen. Like,
the
Oh,
charge here?
yeah, that's just terrible.
I'm
Sheriff,
gonna
foot's not even on the ground.
well, I'm gonna check this replay here. All right, Gabby,
The right foot is literally
what?
in the air.
Oh boy, oh boy.
Wow, that is awful. And that would have tied it,
That's
right?
an offensive foul.
Because it was 48.
No,
It was
no, it would have been
46-43.
it would have been 48-45
Okay.
if she got that layup.
Man, that is awful.
Was that not an offensive foul just there, Ethan?
I didn't see that one.
All right, well, never mind.
The whistle's been very pro Iowa this half. It's been bad.
Well, the NCAA got me.
Their West Virginia's coach was like face to face with one of the refs going at her.
Well, the NCAA got in these officials' ears and said, we need her for at least one more game.
Clark, or else the tournament's shot.
Correct. Yeah, nobody cares about South Carolina, even though they're undefeated. But I'm gonna piggyback right where Ethan you left off. The Illinois team, I think they're too good for Iowa State. They're too skilled. And I understand it. In football we say, hey, defense wins championships. But for me, in college and basketball in general, good offense always beats good defense. And I don't think Iowa State has enough offense to combat what Illinois has to offer. And I think Illinois might be maybe playing the second best of any basketball for any team left in this tournament behind UConn. So I like the Illini to advance. And, Dylan, I'm with you. I think this UConn-San Diego State game, I think it's the easiest game of the weekend to pick. I just don't see San Diego State having much of a chance at all. They didn't have any offense in that title game last year. What makes me think 11 months and 3 weeks later that's going to change to beat this UConn team? UConn had a bad, quote, bad second half against Northwestern and still put up 78 points in that game. Huskies easily win this game.
And then in the Elite Eight matchup here, we've got UConn versus Illinois. I think all three of us actually had this in our brackets, and I've said UConn is the best team. I think they are going to, they can beat you in a multitude of ways, and they've proved why they're the number one overall seed all year. I think Terrence Shannon has a good game, but I think the key here is for UConn is to not let those other two scorers that they have is to let them go off, because then you're going to run into problems. If they're able to keep two of those guys down, I think UConn's going to in similar fashion just suffocate you. They're going to end up pulling away, and nothing phases them. Nothing phases them. They get hit in the mouth, and then they just punch back harder. I think UConn finds their way back to the Final Four again.
I picked Illinois beginning of the tournament. It's I can't turn back on them now. I'm rolling with the offense. This is going to be like a 110-100 game. Like, it's going to be nuts. The amount of points put up in this one. So screw it. We're rolling with the Illini, even though Champaign is a shitty town.
Oh, yeah, I will second that. That the town's a whole.
Yeah.
Really, the whole state of Illinois sucks. If we could somehow take that out of our union, I'd be more than happy with that, because it's a shitty state, a shitty city. And with that being said, I think they have the worst coach in this game. Dan Hurley, give me him over Brad Underwood. I think in the Elite Eight, coaching matters. He's going to make a couple adjustments that Underwood doesn't. So give me UConn. Like Ethan said, he's got the Illini winning it all. Well, I got UConn, so give me the Huskies.
Yeah, Dan Hurley, born January 16th. Coincidence that he shares a birthday with me? I don't think so. So let's go down to the West here. We've got UNC versus Alabama. Get your track shoes on, because this is going to be a high-scoring affair. This is going to be back and forth. See who can get. You talk about another game that's going to be a race to 100. I think look at UNC Alabama, and UNC, after being a little bit coming out sluggish in that first about 10 minutes or so, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, they just start coming, and they find themselves up by 12. And Michigan State got it close, but in the end, UNC just kind of kept pulling away. I think this is a game, both teams have had shown flashes of not great defenses, but in the end, in this game, I think Carolina is willing and wants to play play defense a little bit more than Alabama does. So I like the Tar Heels to advance to the Elite Eight. And in the other regional Sweet 16 matchup in the West is Arizona versus Clemson, a team that I don't think anybody even had picking to win a game, have found themselves in the Sweet 16. And Arizona has been very streaky. I think with a week to prepare, I think they're going to come out. I think they're going to be ready to go. I like
playing a home game
and basically playing a home game. I like Arizona to advance and set up the matchup we all want is Carolina versus Arizona and Caleb Love versus RJ Davis.
Yeah, Alabama hasn't looked very good through 2 games. I'm not gonna lie; they've kind of snuck by, but they have not looked like they put up a lot of points. But yeah, that defense is rough. I think North Carolina honestly rolls right through them. Not going to be much of a contest. Michigan State was a much stiffer test for them. Who does Arizona play again? I'm trying to even think now.
Clemson.
Clemson, that's right. Yeah, the surprise to me. They look like shit in their one ACC tournament game, but they were kind of lucky to survive last game too. If I remember right, they got a good bounce at the end of the game. I think I saw that. I'm trying to think exactly what happened.
Well, yeah, and their best player fouled out too.
That's right. And then they missed free throws to tie it.
Missed the free throws to tie it.
82% missed his free throws. The 48% goes back the other way and makes 4. That's right.
Yep.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew something weird happened there. We have a tie game in Iowa City.
Holy shit.
But no, I think Arizona's just too good again. They looked, in the second half at least, looked phenomenal versus it was
Dayton,
Texas. Dayton, that's right. Yeah, first half were a little sluggish. Second half, they just kind of took over in the first 5 to 6 minutes and then just kind of coasted from there. Give me the Caleb Love hate game.
No, I'm with you guys to round out the West. It's pretty simple. I think, like you said, Dylan, Carolina and Alabama, it's going to be the first to 100. But Carolina as a team is a little more willing to play some defense, and they'll get some stops and they'll slow Alabama down. So I think the Heels pull away with about 12 minutes left in this game, and then God, when Arizona is normally a team you can't trust, but when they're on, guys, they're hard to not like, and I think Clemson's magic is going to run out a little bit, even though everyone was crapping on the ACC before this tournament. Clemson, they'll fight and make it interesting, but Arizona's going to get the win.
Yep, and to the Elite Eight matchup for a Final Four berth on the line, UNC versus Arizona. I think that same thing. I think Arizona is very, very streaky, and I think if you get in their face a little bit, I think they seem to get a little bit timid. I think that streakiness, I think they're going to play a really good game against Clemson, and that's going to be their one good game that they play. I think they're going to use it on that one, and I think that Carolina in the end is just going to be a little bit too much. They are senior laden. They are a veteran group that have gotten solid contributions from freshmen throughout the year. So give me the Tar Heels to make their second Final Four appearance in 3 years.
I'm going with Caleb Love, whatever. The whole team probably hates him for transferring over there, but hey, he got the bag, and now he gets to kick them out of the tournament. So, perfect world for Caleb Love. Awful ending for North Carolina's season.
This might be the second best Elite Eight matchup of the weekend. Connecticut, Illinois is by far going to be the best. I picked Carolina. I live in a Carolina house. And I think Caleb Love can sometimes be too emotional. He's too much of a streaky shooter. He's going to get cold in this game. He's going to hurt the Wildcats. And give me the Heels in the Final Four.
All right, and then let's go over to the South, region, we've Houston versus Duke and NC State and versus Marquette here. And Houston versus Duke. Now, Houston didn't play their best game, got into foul trouble early against Texas A&M. Survive and advance is the motto. And Duke rolled by, didn't play their best game against Vermont, shot the lights out against Duke. Houston's not going to let that happen. They are going to get physical. They're going to jump in, and Duke, in that their classic, preppy, pretty boy fashion, they aren't going to handle the physicality of Houston well. As long as the refs, which is very fearful of, because it's Duke in the NCAA tournament, that Duke is going to get all the calls. They're like, oh, you can't be too tough on the Duke boys. But I think Houston is still there. I don't think Duke is going to shoot the lights out like they did against James Madison. I think Houston, their defense is too good. Offensively, they're going to be good enough. I like Houston to advance to the Elite Eight. And then in the other match, Sweet 16 matchup is NC State versus Marquette. Marquette is going to go up and down the court. I don't know if DJ Burns is going to be able to handle it and keep up with them. I think NC State, they've had a good run. They caught lightning in a bottle, but I don't think they have the defensive prowess to hang with Marquette. And I like the Golden Eagles to take on Houston in the Elite Eight in the South in Dallas.
I'm right with you. I just don't think the Duke guards are going to handle the pressure well. Too good defensively, Houston is. They're not going to allow them to shoot like they did versus James Madison. Like, I guess kind of similar defenses that they run between James Madison and Houston, but James Madison just couldn't. They gave up so many open threes. That's not going to happen with Houston. They're going to force Duke players' hands. They're going to force turnovers, and they're gonna get runouts and get out in transition. NC State Marquette. I just don't see how NC State is going to hang with them. They are uber athletic. DJ Burns is. Let's just say the far opposite of uber athletic. He just loves his eating out. That's what DJ Burns likes.
He also has his own vending machines that he likes to business.
Eat. I've never seen a player quite like him, to be honest. Actually, very good at basketball, but looks like he's like a double wide. He's just freaking huge. I think Marquette actually relatively easily.
I mean, yeah, everything I had to say, Ethan already said for me.
You're welcome.
I think Houston just athletically is going to get in Duke's face, and Duke's not going to shoot 50% from three again. And I think the defense, the physical style that Houston plays with, is going to get to Filipowski, and I think he's going to have a couple early fouls. Filipowski will get in some foul trouble. Duke is in trouble without him. The Cougars advance, and I don't think this Marquette NC State game is going to be that good. I think the Magic, the clock has struck midnight for the Wolfpack. This Marquette team is just too athletic for them. Houston, Marquette, and the Elite Eight.
All right, and we both of us have Houston, Marquette, not Houston, Kentucky. And then in the end, both very good defensive teams. It's going to be a matter of who's going to be able to break through. I think it's going to be whichever team is going to make that late run. And I think Houston is going to be the team that makes that late run. I think they have enough scoring offensively to get past Marquette. I like Houston to advance to the Final Four.
I kind of want to pick Marquette just to pick someone different because I feel like we've had all the same picks so far, basically. But I just think Houston's too good. I can't remember who I had them losing to initially, but
probably Kentucky.
I think it was Kentucky, and I don't think there's a team that's athletic enough that can score.
Or did you have Vermont?
No, you had Vermont.
I had Houston losing to Vermont, but I feel like Ethan may have picked like James Madison or Vermont to make it.
No, I wouldn't have picked them over Houston. No, that's just stupid. Sorry, Dylan. I mean, my bracket sucks. That just sounds stupid. But sorry, my opinion's pretty irrelevant here. I shouldn't be talking. But I think Houston wins and they advance to is it New Orleans this year?
Phoenix.
Phoenix.
That's right, Phoenix.
Well, technically Glendale.
Oh, duh.
Duh. How could we forget about that?
Don't be that guy.
We said earlier you can't trust the Shaka Smart team. Well, I'm going to trust Calvin Sampson over him. Houston to the Final Four again when it comes down to two tight teams. Hey, it's Mr. Boone.
He keeps saying,
Give me the better coach in this game. Give me the Cougs.
All right. And let's go down to the best region, the Midwest, because the Midwest is the best. Purdue versus Gonzaga. In a year that people were saying that Gonzaga was going to be a bubble team, all they've done is breeze through to the Sweet 16 without really even breaking a sweat. They absolutely dominated McNeese State, and the game, it was close at halftime between them and Kansas. Gonzaga just pulled away from them. This team is playing really well. But in the end, against Purdue, same thing is I don't think there's anybody on Purdue who can match up with Zach Edey. And
you mean Gonzaga?
You don't play yourself.
Yeah, Gonzaga isn't gonna. I don't think anybody can match up with Edey unless they can find a way to get him into foul trouble early. But I think all officials have a rule that they don't call fouls on Zach Edey. If he gets touched, they call a foul on whoever was guarding him.
He's like the ozone, you don't touch him.
This Purdue team, they're not a fun team to watch at all, but they just find ways to win. And it sounds like the Purdue fan base is very, very hostile when you bring up the fact that they aren't a fun team to watch, because I don't think I'm the only one. I definitely know I am not the only one that says that they are not a fun team to watch, because it's Zach Edey and he's 7'4". But I think Purdue rolls, and Creighton, Tennessee, probably of the Sweet 16 games, probably the second best. Actually, I might say this is the first best matchup of the Sweet 16. Creighton versus Tennessee.
First best? You mean best?
Yeah, first best. So
who the hell says first best?
You're the first.
I do. And we got Baylor Shireman versus Dalton Connect. Let me talk. Shut up. I'll mute both of you.
Do it.
Okay.
You're talking to yourself. What a lame podcast.
That's okay. I like hearing the sound of my own voice. Yep. Can't hear you guys. What? But anyways, Tennessee versus Creighton here. A battle of a couple of Dakota boys. Creighton versus Connect versus Baylor Shireman. Tennessee was lucky to escape, and every other year they lose to Texas.
Hey, we're unmuted.
But they found a way to win. Dalton Connect didn't have a great game, but he was still able to affect the game, hit a couple of shots when he needed to. Tennessee advances. Oregon versus Creighton, one of the best games of the opening weekend, was actually in my list of games, but ended up not just falling short. But in the end, I think Tennessee's just going to be a little bit too much, and I like the Vols to advance, setting up a Purdue versus Tennessee matchup.
Vols.
Gonzaga-Purdue game for me is so intriguing. You could argue Purdue just played the best overall game in the NCAA tournament so far. A 39-point win. I don't care who you're playing. That's pretty freaking impressive. And then Gonzaga probably just put the best overall half together to beat Kansas. Like, that was incredible. They were absolutely dominant. Like Grant, or who said it? Like, Dylan, you said they coasted. Like, it was effortless. Like actually, I was listening to it on the radio, and it's just like every time was a giant play for Gonzaga, and then it's like Kansas. Oh, they turn it over. Oh, missed shot. One and done. Like, just constant Gonzaga. It's all it was.
It would help if Kansas's coach was focused on this year too.
Yeah, I kind of want to pick Gonzaga just because I want Purdue to lose. I don't really like them, but if Brendan Smith plays like he has, like I don't think Gonzaga can win. He moves the ball. He gets the ball to Edey in good spots. I can't say the other guys do that as much, and he finds him. Like there was one play, Edey was wide open under the hoop, and the guy in the wings just sitting there holding the ball, looking around, passes it to Braden Smith, and then boom, right there, sees him right away. It's just he sees things a lot of the other guards don't. So if he's healthy, I think they win that game and move on. Creighton, Tennessee. My head probably is telling me to pick Tennessee. Their football stadium is beautiful, by the way. Drove by it when we were going up to the cabin last weekend. But I picked Creighton to start. I can't turn away from that now, just like I picked with Illinois. We're going with the offense. Creighton, Baylor Shireman. He's going to make all the South Dakota State fans that probably despise him very proud. And they're going to have a Jackrabbit playing in the final, or the Elite Eight, I should say.
Yeah, guys, this isn't the same Gonzaga team, and Edey has been so dominant to start this tournament. I just don't know if anyone on Gonzaga can stop him, and I think that's going to be the difference maker. He's just been so dominant, and he's so good. I'm with you, Ethan. I don't like Purdue, like one bit at all, but I just think this matchup favors them, and I think they beat Gonzaga pretty easy because this just isn't the same Gonzaga team that we've seen in years past. And, Tennessee, with their kind of just like what I said, with their lack of offense compared to like what Iowa State has, you can't trust them. They're not going to score 50 points in this game like they did against Texas and win. It's just not going to happen. And I think Creighton got a wake-up call in that second half against Oregon. They looked awful. But you know what? They pulled it through and made some plays when they needed to. Sure, Oregon missed some foul shots, but hey, that's not their problem. So I think Creighton advances to play Purdue in the Elite Eight.
All right. And Purdue versus Tennessee for me. And same thing. I don't know if Tennessee has anybody who can match up with Zach Edey. And I said at the beginning of the year that Purdue was going to make the Final Four. And similar to you, Ethan, is I don't want to see it. But since I already picked Purdue to go to the Final Four, I'm sticking with the Boilermakers. They beat Tennessee. Give me a Houston versus Purdue matchup in the Final Four.
All right, Purdue Creighton. Creighton actually does have a guy to an extent, not as tall as Edey, but he's a defensive wizard, and he's over 7 feet. I know that. Kalkbrenner, I think his name is. I don't even know how to say it. But
Kalkbrenner or whatever.
Some tall white guy that can bang down low with probably has like a 10-foot wingspan. It looks like I watched him on TV. But I think they can go down low, and I think they can beat them. Their guards might even be maybe not better, but they're on the same page for sure as Braden Smith. Shireman on the wing is better than Lance Jones, or whatever the hell his name is, number 55 for Purdue. I think this is a game Creighton can absolutely win. I'm not just picking them by heart. This is one I actually legitimately think they will advance to the Final Four.
All right, Creighton, after falling short, they get back, or they get there for the first time.
Ethan, I'm with you. I think that number 11 for Creighton, something like that. He got punked by Dante from Oregon on Saturday. But that dude is just an absolute physical specimen who looked like he wanted to hurt. Who wanted to hurt someone. Zach Edey does not want to go out and does not want to hurt people, and that was his wake-up call. That'll do it. That was Creighton's wake-up call, and I really like their athlete. Is it Jackson, number 23, for Creighton. I think he's going to make his own shot. He's going to be the difference offensively. Alexander, that's the guy. I think he's going to be the difference maker in this game. And Creighton's offense is going to be too much. You can't trust Purdue in March. So give me the Blue Jays in the Final Four.